Alrighty, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 503. Female anime characters only want men. 3 question mark. Addressing Colleen Clinkenbeard's comments. Now, I don't know exactly who Colleen is. You guys probably do in chat. I haven't watched this video, so I don't know what's going on. Let me just get some information on the video. Let's see. It came out. Oh, it just came out a few days ago, actually. Has about 42,000 views from Anime America, which is almost a 500,000 sub channel.
Wow.
Never heard of these guys.
Same. This is the first time I'm hearing about them.
Yeah, never heard of Colleen, never heard of Anime America. Bravo, good for them. I don't know who's right, I don't know who's wrong. I have never watched a second of this stuff, so I don't know what's going on, but this became recommended by you guys, so thank you very much. It's Anime Day, as always. If someone from Discord wants to jump in and maybe give us some heads up or insight into this, great. We'd love to have you on. But other than that, we're going to get started. It is, geez, how long is this? This is a 21-minute video. Holy
That's not too bad.
Not too bad, yeah. Alrighty, let's get going.
Anime America NFT. I must say, I made a nice fucking T-shirt, huh? That's what NFT stands for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. That's exactly what it means. Thank you, Sumi. Introducing the Anime America Nice Fucking T-shirts. This will be a limited item, so grab it from our...
Oh my, so...
I almost had a heart attack.
Are they selling? Okay, this is merch.
Well, are they selling a T-shirt and like having this like joke that NFT?
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Teespring store before it's...
That's a really bad looking T-shirt. Is my like resolution really shit? Like, what the hell's going on?
I think like the video's resolution is like that.
Really? All right. I mean,
you guys. Can you guys hear me?
we can barely hear Mateus. What's up, man?
I guess it is my microphone because my headphones broke one side.
Oh my god. Okay. You can type in the chat. We'll try to understand what's going on.
Can you use your phone like Hawk does?
No, I am using my phone, but my headphone is broken.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, anyway, as I was saying, that is, even if I could properly see that T-shirt, I'm not sure I'd want to pick that up unless that's their...
Maybe it's purposely bad because it's NFT. Like
maybe that's a weird thing.
Usual NFT.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. Here's a shitty T-shirt because I don't like the acronym, what it represents. Like, okay, that's like saying...
Look, I think it is a funny joke at least.
I hope so. It's like me wearing a Hitler T-shirt. I hate Hitler. There's a picture of Hitler. Like, okay. Anyway.
Too late. We're also going to throw in the discount code NFT30, so you can get 30% off of your entire order. Feel free to use this code on any of our available T-shirt designs on Teespring.
See, that doesn't look like... I don't want that. Like, if it's a cute anime chick, I'd be like, oh, that's fine. It's something cute. But that's just a muscle-bound creature that I can't... I don't get it.
It's a muscle-bound Pokemon.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, prop to them. At least they are making something for the subscribers.
I guess. I don't know. But hey, if they can sell it, good for them. Why not? Anyway. Oh boy.
When I first got into anime, I was in elementary school, and I was watching Toonami on Cartoon Network. Around that time, I was watching Dragon Ball Z, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, which was later replaced by Ronin Warriors, the real OG reboot. Can I hear some fans out there? Anyone remember this? This was 3D back then, look at this. And of course, my all-time favorite anime, Sailor Moon. I, for one, watched all of Sailor Moon for its interesting story and drama. Why, yes, I did start watching the series when Prince Diamond kidnapped Sailor Moon soon after discovering this annoying pink spawn as her child in the future. So of course I had to keep watching to figure out what the hell I was watching. I wouldn't necessarily say I looked up to these superhero girls, but I watched every episode just because I love the characters and I love the stories. I love their adventures and the villains they would face, despite realizing how repetitive it could be the older I became. From that point onwards, I kept getting into other types of anime, checking out manga for the first time, and making new friends who also loved anime. I remember loving stories from Clamp, Yuatase, and Rumiko Takahashi, while also getting into the Pokemon craze just like everyone else. Anime was a huge part of my life, and I made several male and female friends who loved watching all types of anime with me. We loved the animation, we loved their stories, and we loved their characters. We grew up watching amazing stories led by incredible characters, both male and female. I guess to us, it didn't really matter what gender the characters were, as long as their stories were good and they had likable or interesting characteristics. So when I see an article like this, I honestly don't know what to say. Colleen Clinkenbeard, a remarkable voice actor.
Is that a real name?
I was like, is that a real face?
Is that a joke? Like,
It
I'm
is a
serious
real
here.
name. Clinkenbeard.
Clink and Beard. It's like a store, like a funky bar. You go like, let's go down at Clinkenbeard. Clinkenbeard's having a sale.
This has to be an artist name. Like, come on, you're fucking with me. Like, no way.
The artist formerly known as Clinkenbeard, yeah.
Clinkenbeard.
Here's the Giga Chat. Hey, Giga Chat, how's it going? Good Lord, that T-shirt looks heinous. Yes. Also, her voice makes me want to clean my ears with a power drill. Also, who wants to get that? The women with the effeminate SpongeBob voice is going to lie and get upset over nothing in this video. I don't know what's happening. She's not even sure what the problem is yet, so we haven't established what's going down. And
The focus of the video is not is the remarks made by Clinkenbeard.
yeah, and she's apparently very well known because she's the voice of Luffy in One Piece.
But like that's like the 4Kids stuff, though.
Luffy is showing
one
stuff.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think like that's 4Kids dub was only for like
Yeah.
select a few of episodes compared to like the majority of the One Piece episodes, which is like 1,000. I don't know how much.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't know like how long did they dub it. Like I have to look it up just now.
Yeah, I think One Piece is perhaps the most popular shonen anime outside of well, there's two current ones that are pretty big, which I still haven't watched and I don't care to. But
Only 104 episodes did they dub.
that's it?
So yeah,
Okay, they got lots more to do.
way more.
Yeah, no, you can imagine that people are going to do Demon Slayer or just whatever popular has been out for the past 5 years, maybe. But they've got a backlog for One Piece for sure. I can't see it being or not coming over unless there's some reason the license doesn't work for like certain seasons. They can't get it anymore. Maybe Japan is like, yeah, we don't care. Your marketplace doesn't really bother us.
That's like a thing I don't remember. Like, why don't they just like care enough that like they would like dub over like One Piece? It's like it always strike me strange.
Well,
Oh well.
but yeah, I don't know how the industry works, and I'm sure they have multiple options, and actors ask for more pay, and they toss them around. They use their voice in multiple places, and all kinds of shenanigans, I'm sure, in this business. But whatever, they're making a living. Honestly, who cares what actors think? It's one of the worst things you could do in your media.
Yeah, never ask actors.
Yeah, no, it's
You're a clown.
Never ask an actor
This
what
is-
he thinks.
this is one of the downfalls, I think, of what's happening with Picard right now, is that they put Patrick Stewart in the writer's room because he wanted to be, and you went, Patrick, have you written anything before? And then you see the
Yeah.
guys,
That's actually a really bad idea.
and then you see the guys who have written before that are also in the room, and you're like, oh, maybe he could help them.
No one's saying no to him.
Yeah, I know. It's there's all kinds of
Maybe-
shenanigans in writers' rooms outside of the actors getting involved and wanting more parts and more drama and how awesome. Like when Patrick Stewart says on the air in an interview, like, I am Picard. It has become part of my life, and you're like, what?
Is it? Because like there was a time when like he was like embarrassed to even admit that like he was on Star Trek, and he just rather wanted to forget about it. And then like he had to star in like several like C category movies where like he was like, okay, let me get back to Picard. I don't want to do this shit anymore.
Yeah, we were when I was at my first jobs. I was talking to other friends who like Star Trek and what have you, and we were wondering was Patrick Stewart like a massive geek because he starred in like Dune and all these other science fiction things you've never seen before, that he just sort of like he loved the theater, but he just kept doing sci-fi stuff. Did he just try and get whatever he could find in Hollywood and come across the ocean just to have auditions? Like, I don't know. There was that one year outside of doing Star Trek where he just did not Hamlet. It was some other Shakespearean play, and he was saying that he was Macbeth, which is kind of odd for a 50-year-old actor at the time, or was he even older? I can't remember. And he would get drunk, like he would get knockout dead drunk every night because he was so emotionally exhausted from performing so much, and they would just repeat for the entire year. So I don't know, like 300 shows of Macbeth, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen or read Shakespeare. Macbeth is fairly easy to get into. It's not too complicated. There's a lot of other characters in Macbeth, which are more complex than the Macbeth characters. Lady Macbeth is way more complex. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see it be demanding, but emotionally demanding? I don't know. Not unless
maybe something with the production.
I couldn't tell you. I would have to rewatch because I've seen so many Macbeth growing up. I went to Young People's Theater. I saw it on the stage, multiple times at school. So it's like, yeah, I remember the story. I know what happens, but there's nothing really over the top, crazy, dramatic, aside from maybe one or two scenes that you expect. But other than that, the whole thing is just a build up to what happens to him. Anyway, let's keep going. Here's Legacy of the $4.99. Patrick Stewart is going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness to play Xavier.
Yes, he is. He's going to reprise Professor X again, even though he said that he's out.
Oh, they offered him a lot of money,
Logan.
Yes.
This is crazy because I'm going with the assumption that everything new Trek is a grift, and I don't know who's getting the money, but I'm assuming it's the actors. It makes the most sense.
Does new Trek makes new money? Because nobody talks about it.
I know, and we don't know how many viewers there are. We don't know who watches this shit. Aside from, are they bots? Are they just random stupid fans on Twitter? Like, I don't know. I've never talked to anyone. All the reviewers, if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, it's in the 90s. For professional reviewers. Then you go to the fan side, it's like 20s and 30s. Like, it's really bad. So I don't know who's watching this, who's paying who off. I don't get it. So, yeah. Anyway, Joe Crazy, how's it going? There are 2 English dubs. She voiced Luffy in the Fun Animation, not the 4Kids one. Oh, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Because I don't think Funimation... Wait, no. I don't think 4Kids is doing it anymore. I think it's not fun.
No, I think 4Kids got bankrupt.
The current? Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around. All right.
So there is a Funimation dub. Okay, because I was only aware of the 4Kids version.
All right. Well, let's see what Colleen has to say.
Who's voiced hundreds of popular anime characters and is one of the ADR directors of Funimation. She was invited for an interview from comicbook.com to talk about her experience in the anime industry for Women's History Month. She basically talks about how she got into voice acting, how she became one of the first female ADR directors at Funimation, and talks about her favorite anime characters such as Sailor Mars, Urza Scarlet, Toru Honda, and Hana from Wolf Children. There is one comment she made, however, that grabbed a lot of people's attention, and it's the sole reason why I'm making this video. When asked, shonen anime is hugely popular in the United States, but the medium has stories for everyone. Women have their voices and interests expressed in tons of shoujo josei series. Do you feel that anime does a better job catering to the demographic than, say, television stateside? How do you think the anime industry could do better? She goes on to say, I think in more recent years, the studios creating anime have done a better job incorporating female voices in the shonen anime and allowing shoujo series to appeal to all viewers. I think not male anime and female anime, but anime with different flavors for every palate. Okay, that's something I can actually agree with. Anime has come a long way from making shows strictly for their demographics. They have evolved and involving all sorts of characters that everyone, whether within the demographic or not, can like and even look up to. But then she has
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like we had it pretty ironed out in the 80s and 90s, but sure.
Yeah. You're going to get some version of some superpowered kid in a high school of superpowered kids in high school of a military group that's going to fight ghosts or demons or spirits or whatever.
Like I know it's like a minority, but I did know like some guys who watch Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
And I don't think like they had like any troubles. Like,
yeah, no. I watched Sailor Moon for the first season and a bit. I think a little bit of the second season, but after that, it just didn't, I don't even know if they came out with any more after Sailor Moon R, the R movie came out. And after that, it was all somewhere else in Canada. I don't know, Nickelodeon or some other station had it.
Mm.
But it wasn't like, oh, darn, I can't see the rest of Sailor Moon. It's like, I'll watch it if it's there. It was always after school. So it wasn't that big a deal. But no, I'm like, there was really awesome anime in the 90s too that you could rent at the movie store. So that was what I would do. I wouldn't watch it on TV. But yeah, no, but then you're watching like Ghost in the Shell and then Akira.
Ghost in the Shell, yes, or like Perfect Blue. Okay, like that's like a very extreme example, I know, but like it's essentially about like a female performer who someone wants to take her place.
Yeah, it's
like,
very much
like a psychopath. Like I could fully relate to the person.
Yeah, it was.
I had no problems with that.
It felt like, well, it wasn't completely like the Black Swan movie, but there was an element of it there.
Yes.
So there's a lot more mature stories in anime, and Outlaw Star was big then, and then we got end of the decade. It was Cowboy Bebop. So it was like, oh, okay, this is where anime should be. Like once you get really good anime, it's kind of like you get into beer or whiskey or wine, and you've been drinking like the table wine or the Merlots all your life. Then all of a sudden they give you a Carmenere or some Pinot Noir that you've never heard of before, and it's like, oh, this is what wine should be like. This is what, like, once you go back down to like a rosé or a white Zinfandel, it's like, okay, well, this is like pop now. Like, I don't really care. I know what my taste and preference have become. Once you try once you get the good stuff, as I like to call the good stuff out of whatever, could be good spice, it could be a drink.
Yeah.
Like that's, oh, this is the good pizza. This is not the average pizza or the Pizza Hut pizza. Who the hell eats Pizza Hut anymore? I don't know. People like deep dish, but it's just, it's foreign to me. I'm Italian. We have Roman style pizza. We have Sicilian style. We have all these different styles, and deep dish is like an American invention.
Nepalese.
Yeah, I don't know who created it, but what I'm saying is once you have this taste of something high quality, like, oh, this is where I should be. This is the standard. Everything else beneath that you can tell is a difference. So that's how I evaluate stuff in general, not just media. But yeah, everyone, once you learn about that, once you learn about the concept of quality and objective critique, you say, okay, now I can evaluate my criteria at a higher standard. You know why. And that's why I say try everything in life. Try golfing, try opera, try those crazy extreme races where you go through the mud, like whatever gets you off your ass and excited. Like go crazy in life, and then you say, okay, I've done it once. This is my baseline. Is there something better than this or worse? And then you know better what not to waste your time with. So anyway, liter of salad. That sounds kind of gross unless you're processing your food and drinking it. Okay, leader of salad. Hey, this video seems like a blast from the past, and not in a good way. It sounds like she recorded her audio on a calculator. The video editing looks like it was done on those free video editing softwares for children. Anytime I see animated cutesy characters, like not hand-drawn, I'm like, okay, it doesn't look bad, but it's not really something I want to stare at when it's right in my face. But, it's better than a lot of other people's we've watched, so I'm not complaining.
I'm willing
it's
to
better
like
than
look away.
Not alive.
I'm willing to look away if her narrative is good enough.
Exactly. All right, let's keep going.
I had to say this. The one thing I like to see change even more is the treatment of female characters in anime of all genres. Female characters are too often driven by their desire to appeal to men or support men, and too infrequently by their own motives and storylines. They also tend to end up in the background, waiting to be rescued or fixed in some way. I like to see more strength in female characters we see in anime, so both girls and boys watching anime as they grow up can find things to admire in these characters, rather than looking to the male leads for inspiration. Alright, where do I even begin? She is flat out saying that the majority of female characters in anime are solely motivated to find a man, to be more appealing for a man, to help their man in whatever quest they're on, and settle for being a background character as long as their men are happy.
Excuse me, what?
Now then, I'm going to be as polite as possible, despite the fact that I feel like the comment alone is seriously detached from reality and is in fact disingenuous.
Okay, wait a second. I'm not saying that she's right, but it depends on which story you're looking at, where most stories first shown in anime are about guys. And they are...
They are literally meant for guys.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to have a story for a guy with the guy who's a lead, or something happens to him and he turns into a girl, or he gets sent off and he becomes poor, or becomes a noble or something in some isekai world. Like, there's all kinds of fantasies where you have female supporting roles. And sometimes they're sisters, sometimes they're mothers, sometimes they're villains. And sometimes they fall in love with the hero, and sometimes they hate the hero, and they're always fighting against them. I'm watching one. It's called. I actually read the manga already. It's still ongoing. It was trapped in a dating sim world. The world of otome games is tough for mobs, which means otome games are basically girls for games, or games for girls, and it's kind of like what a dating sim game would be for a guy, only it's for a girl. So you're the female protagonist. And there's all these princes around you. And the story goes that this guy had to do something for his sister, which was like because of some bet they lost or whatever. And he had to play the game for her so she can get to the ending and watch the secret content or whatever. So he had to play this game to death. Like, he played it so much he exhausted himself and died. And then he found himself in that game world as another, a completely different character. So it shows that side of otome games where the protagonist, male or female, is obsessed over. There's all these princes chasing after her. They're kissing her, and all the other women rivals are being pushed to the side. And it's a fantasy for girls. So it's a nice spin on the genre, and it's from a male perspective because obviously this is not for a girl's story, but it has a bunch of girls in it. So it's interesting what's happening with the genre and how creative these manga writers are for telling stories for the same audience, but with a genre that the guys probably wouldn't like romance. So there's something for everyone out there, as she said before. So I really want to know what the hell is she talking about? Shoujo anime? Then that makes perfect. Then it doesn't make any sense because it's.
Shonen was like the topic.
Yeah.
So
like it's kind of like silly to like okay, like let's put like more like female and girl stuff in shonen. It's like okay, well that's kind of defeats the purpose. Then you just like making it into shoujo.
Yeah. So
inside the fucking genre already.
Is the YouTuber in question agreeing or disagreeing with?
She is the YouTuber in front right now is disagreeing with this voice actress.
Yes, because the voice actors are a bunch of idiots. So
yeah, we know there are some.
Clinkenbeard is a rabid feminist.
Vic Vignana, but like he got cancelled.
She threw Clinkenbeard threw Vic onto the bus ASAP.
She is one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to like her, and then the whole Vic thing. Like, really, the only voice actor I liked now is Vic, because he's just a down to earth dude.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
Like, I've met him in real life a few times, and he goes to cons all the time, and he's just the nicest guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I was listening to Steve Blum on Twitter, and then he blocked me.
Yeah.
it was constant Trump derangement syndrome. Constant. I mean, this, like, you know how you have Alyssa Milano, who's just insane. He's like a version of that, just not as insane, but still pretty vocal. And it was like, dude, not everything is
just chewed out.
Like,
what Adam Savage from MythBusters. I grew up loving that show, and unfortunately, he's just the most rabid leftist person. As someone who spews like you have to get all the data and all the info, and he's like parroting all this dumbass crap that the left just spews out. I'm like, Adam, like, I'm glad Jamie doesn't have a Twitter, because at least he's like still just, haha, funny walrus man. You know what I mean?
That's the great thing about
he's
that
kept
show.
his mouth shut
Yeah.
since the show ended.
Jamie and Adam, they never actually got along. They professionally they worked together, but other than that, they weren't friends. They never hung out. They never did stuff together. I thought
like
that was fascinating.
Seems like Jamie's the based one.
I don't know. I don't really care about drama, but I found it fascinating that these were two professionals who were like, yeah, we've worked together for all this time, but we don't actually like hang out. We don't like go to friends' parties. We don't do any of that shit. We don't really have the same interests. And
I mean, honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. You're there. You do your job. Once you go home, you don't worry about it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I know it's
where I'm concerned.
Yeah, no. Usually when I work with people, we hang out. Like, we just at least go to bars or whatever. But apparently not after all this time. Anyway,
I mean, all the like corporate jobs I've had, quote unquote, like, just working for another company, I never really hung out with anyone outside of work. So it was like, I completely understand where Jamie's coming from. This is like, you don't have to hang out with the people you work with.
I know. It's just odd because
it's literally my life. Like, I just like we kept trying, like, my workplace currently is like trying to like get this like atmosphere that like, oh, we like to hang out with each other. Like, this is such a happy environment, and like they're like, okay, the person that has been like parroting like what the CEO has been like wishing us to like believe has just quit, and like now she has like did like a complete like 180 on this. Like, she doesn't want to like even like dine with us. She doesn't want to like even hang around in the same room. And like, I was like, 2 weeks ago, like, you were like so like cheery and happy about like, oh, well, we gotta like have these like meetings and such, and like we gotta like push the company, and like you got like a better job, and like you just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like,
this happens.
Is like all fake shit.
Yeah, this happens in interviews. Like, what do you look at for in a company? What's the idea of corporate culture? And I'm like,
where do you imagine yourself in 2 years?
Sitting at a desk,
I'm CEO of the company,
making money.
Gotta return some
because
videotapes.
you're going to pay me to make money for you. That's what I foresee in 2 years. But of course, you can't say that because there's hiring companies are so up their own butt.
Yeah, it's like,
but my current company hired me because I just said like, I'm gonna do it for the money.
Yeah, no, it's they want you to be a team player. They want you to have you. Well, where do you see yourself in 10 years? It's like, well, probably not with you guys, because I don't see myself standing if you guys are who I think you are. I'm here to help out. I'm here to do my job efficiently. I'm not here to sit in your break room or eat at your cafeteria. I know where I go to eat. I bring my own lunch. I don't need to do that.
I just use the money.
Yeah, no, it was funny when I was working at Six Flags. I hadn't had like a normal job working for another company for a few years, and they forced me to go on break, and that threw me for a loop for a second. Because the last couple of jobs, like, I worked at a restaurant beforehand, and there was just, you get there, you work, you leave. There really wasn't a break. And then I worked for Uber, which was, work for yourself. And so the first like week I was there, like, I didn't go on break immediately, and they're like, oh, you need to go on break.
It's legally, you have to go. Well, you have to be given break. You don't have
no, I understand why they do it. it's just Six Flags they force you because they don't want to get in trouble because they also have. They're one of the few companies that hire like 15-year-olds here in the States.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Georgia allows 15-year-olds to work, but they have
all right.
like very limited times they can work.
Oh, okay.
Chick-fil-A is another company that allows it because like they can't work during like past 7 on weekdays during when school is in session. During the summer they can work till 8. And they have to be have hours, certain break times and whatever. So it's just they just have it set up for everyone that way. And my supervisor just got very panicked because I didn't take a break immediately when they said it didn't register in my head. Oh, I have to take a break.
Yeah.
I'm just the type of person who goes, okay, I'm here to work. I work until the place is closed or told to go home.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
All right. Okay. Let's get some donations and super chats going, and we'll get back to the video. Here's Guillotine Chan. That's a cool name. The actress only thinks the way she does because she's under the delusion that shonen is all the anime there is. No, I think she mentioned shoujo. Most seinen has exactly what she described she's looking for. As always, anime English VAs are uninformed hacks, which is odd because she should know the industry even a little bit for categories.
Yeah, it's just that they're jealous that shoujo and seinen are not as popular as shonen.
Yeah, but that's fair.
Yeah,
that's normal.
She actually implied the other genres.
I know, but you should at least know that what's popular is what sells. And if it doesn't sell...
Yeah, here's the thing. I guarantee you she knows that.
Yeah.
But she's upset that it's popular.
Well.
Because it's not the girl thing that's popular. It's the boy thing. Because, that's... surprise, surprise. A lot of women like shonen.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
Here is...
Have you seen the My Hero Academia fan base? It's not just guys. I can tell you that much.
Here is...
Yeah, it makes sense because most of the animes that we import are shonen.
Yeah, it's the biggest genre. Here is JJJ Madness. Hey, he's not actually giving a super chat. He's just that cool. He's been a member for 2 months. There you go. Oh God, this is going to be one of those videos that demand, why can't everyone be gay or bi, isn't it? Well, maybe not from the YouTuber, but
from the voice actress.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We'll find out. We don't know what else she's going to say. Funko Pop Ted Bundy. I don't know what that would look like, but I'm kind of curious now what it should look like. Steve Blum is like
surprised.
Steve Blum is like Alyssa Milano, as I said, but his arm hair isn't as thick. Ooh. Goddamn, that woman looks like a werewolf. Every actor heading into their 50s becomes a political activist because their days in the spotlight are behind them. Yeah,
pretty much.
I would.
Well, most liberal actors, I will say, because most of the conservative ones, they kind of just go, they wander off, or they stay there, they keep their mouth shut. They don't get into this unless they're forced into it. They mainly go away.
Well, what happens with actors in general is,
or they keep acting in like older roles. They don't like desperately cling to this "I have to stay young" look.
Okay, that's part of it, but I think actors in general want to have their voice heard as being actors. It doesn't matter whether they're getting paid or they're doing something else. They want to be out and about, and that comes along with the age. So yeah, I don't have as many roles. I have more time on my hand. I have a big mouthpiece, and hey, I'm going to bitch about my current political climate because what else do I have to do with my life?
I also know nothing about because I've sat in Hollywood for 30 years.
Yeah. And hey, everyone's nice, so I'm going to be on the nice side, who I think are nice. That happens to be the people on the left.
I just think that is God complex. They think themselves they are better than everyone else.
Ego for sure. I don't think they're better. I think they're more ethically or morally inclined or more superior as such. So therefore,
I don't think so. Most of them are degenerate.
Yeah, it's these people who think that they're better than you.
Yes, that is
because they're on TV. Because they're on TV, they think they're better than you. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's the moral.
It's really stupid,
Yeah, it's the
and
moral.
everyone knows they're full of it.
It's the moral superiority game. I'm doing this. Why aren't you? I'm an activist because I believe in, I don't know, pick a topic. Climate change is pretty popular. And why aren't you driving my amazing $80,000 Tesla? Because, it doesn't run on gas.
But haven't you heard, Smud? Teslas are bad now.
Oh, okay. They are? Is that what
Yeah, just the only electric cars that are okay to like are the ones that are from companies that have got government bailouts over the past 20 years, and not,
So every
the-
car
so
from
the-
DM.
yeah.
Oh.
And also because Elon bought Twitter today.
Yeah,
so,
Elon's bad. Yeah, exactly.
so
Elon bad.
Okay.
yeah. Did you hear that the current president of the United States had a whole like electric vehicle summit, and they didn't invite Elon?
What?
Oh.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about it. Let me tell you, he was as sassy as Elon is. He was yeah, he was not thrilled the fact that
That's like
it's really stupid, isn't it?
that's like saying we're gonna have an MMA.
They invited GE, all the other car
Yeah.
companies. They didn't invite the guy that made electric vehicles popular.
Wow.
Because he bought Twitter.
No, this was before all this started. They have just not like the left does not like Elon because he doesn't put up with their crap. He makes fun of them.
Well, he does get a lot of subsidies from the government for some of his companies. So
Correct. I don't deny that he does that, but he hasn't had to have a bailout, which is different.
if he gets funding, I think the government should be aware of him and say, "Hey, here's the richest man in the world that we spend a lot of money on. Let's, we should probably call him over, see what he's doing." Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
a good idea.
it's a political thing
but,
for them.
But it is
because he doesn't say the magic words that make them that say that he agrees with them. So they snub him at every turn.
All right. Well, let's get back on topic. I'm tired of looking at this girl's face, but I have a feeling I'll be looking at it for the next hour or two.
I'm still stunned by the name of the voice actress.
I know.
Clinkenbeard, or beard, whatever.
What is that?
It's probably some German name. Who knows?
I think it is a Swedish name.
Swedish? All right.
That's
Close
why.
enough. Some part of Europe. Okay, let's go.
This is in no way me attacking Colleen for her comment, and I will not tolerate any form of harassment and bullying she gets from any of you thinking she deserves it for what she said. All that said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick out 10 of her most popular female characters she's voiced herself and go over their motivations. I can assure you, the majority of these girls have motivations outside of finding a man. First of all, let's start with Momo from My Hero Academia. She's basically top of her class, excelling in school and combat training. Her quirk ability is creating anything she wants by reconstructing the molecular fat stored in her body. She needs to eat a lot in order to maintain body fat and wears revealing clothing in order to gain access to her skin to use her quirk. Some around her think she's open to vulgarity because of her outfit, but she's very sensitive towards vulgar behavior and tends to see nudity with a natural and non-sexual point of view. Headstrong, confident, a born leader, and a hard worker. Interested in finding a man and helping his quest? No, she just wants to be a hero. That's it. Hana from Wolf Children. She goes to school, falls in love with a man who has the ability to transform into a wolf, and they have 2 children together. Soon after Ame was born, though, Wolfman suddenly dies, leaving Hana with 2 wolf children to raise on her own. Hana's motivation was not finding a man, she just went to school and fell in love as a lot of other people tend to do. High school, college sweethearts as you would call them. Her motivation changed, however, from school to raising a family, and now just figuring out a way to protect these children from a world that doesn't even know wolf people exist. Her sole motivation throughout the majority of the film was just to look out for her loved ones and care for her children. Does that count as supporting a man, though? I honestly don't see it that way at all. She didn't really give up anything for him, she just wanted to raise a family with him, and he suddenly dies. Plus, the movie focuses on her and her children, so I say her motivations don't really match Colleen's statement at all.
What is this? This is a match? Colleen anime? What the hell?
Yeah, she's...
Wolf. Yeah, Wolf Lord is a... Oh, sorry. Say that again?
Wolf children, I guess.
So Wolf Turtle is by the same guy that did Summer Wars, and the only part of the Digimon movie you remember. He does a lot of movies about family, and this one is about motherhood.
Right. So
it's literally
That's what's
just
so powerful about it.
Yes,
yeah.
and it is a really good movie. Like, and the dad is only in the movie for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. So
the vast majority of that movie is a single mother desperately trying to raise 2 half-wolf children, and she has no idea about how the half-wolf part works.
Yeah. So
because the father died before any of this kicked off.
Yeah. So the comment from Colleen is essentially the Bechdel test, where the women only care about a male character, whereas in her roles she's played so far, they have other motivations outside of males, or if they do have motivations with males, it's not about just that, or they're not some one-dimensional character.
Even in My Hero Academia, Momo doesn't care, have any feelings towards any male character outside of just like, oh hi, we're friends.
Right.
Even Deku, she worries about him because he's an idiot at times and gets himself hurt and rushes into things to an extent, but she doesn't love him. She's there to work with him as a equal hero. She's the only female character that has any interest in Deku sexually is I'm blanking on her name at the moment.
What's her quirk? What does she do?
The weightless quirk.
Oh.
Anti-gravity.
Okay.
She's the only one. But she still wants to be her own hero. She doesn't do everything just for Deku.
Yeah,
she likes him because he's a giant dork.
That's kind of the point in most of these stories. The girls aren't just there to be a wife. Some are. There are some romance stories, or they're based off visual novels where, oh yeah, this is clearly they're sort of pushing this girl to the forefront because she wants to be a wife, and she throws herself at the hero. But
but it makes sense because it is romance.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what you expect. So it's a fantasy. It's a giving the fantasy to the male audience. Here's a girl who throws herself at you. She's not the most attractive, but she really likes you, and she's really into all your stuff. That's kind of what you do in these sorts of stories. You have all these different flavors of girlfriend or female, and you get to pick and choose. That's part of the game. So when they make that into an anime, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, here we go. Here's the tsundere, here's the lovey-dovey, here's the older sister type. There's all these patterns of human behavior we can look at and go, okay, yeah, cool. You got something to
and they have reverse harem anime, where it's all men going for one girl. It's just those aren't as popular.
Those are the Otome games, exactly. So it's she hasn't been in those, I guess. Maybe she has. We've only seen 2 so far that the channel's pointing out. So
it's just
the only Otome game anime that I watched was Katarina, and it's fun.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. I'm sure we got a lot more minutes to go through. Maybe there's more examples where she has a point. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Nice Hollystone from Baccano is a blast. Get it? Nice grows up alongside her friend Jacuzzi. Her sole motivation is to run a bootlegging gang alongside Jacuzzi as a team. She takes care of him since he was the one person who cared for her even after an explosion accident permanently scarring her. But she honestly works alongside Jacuzzi as a team. Plus, I can totally see her as that one type of gal that would just walk up to a Wendy's store clerk say, excuse me, he said no pickles on his burger. But other than that, her motivations are her own, to run a successful bootlegging gang alongside her best friend, soon-to-be husband.
Yeah, see, I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's a great anime, but
it is a good show.
That kid gets a tattoo on his face because he wants his friend to feel normal because she has all these scars. So they're kind of like best buddies, lovers, like eventual lovers, but it's not about him per se. There's so many characters in that story, and there's so many plot lines, and they're fighting, and you can't just say this girl is just for that guy even though they care about each other, because there's so many things going on. And it's fun. It's a really fun ride to try and pay attention to all this stuff. It's told in a backwards manner, I think, the plot line. So it's cool. And if all you get out of that is she likes a guy, is like, no, come on. That's not the story. There's way more to it. Here is the Giga Chad. All right. I think Momo admires Todoroki for his diligence and intelligence. That's her closest to pursuing someone, but her main focus has never been to find a man. In the story, she wants to be a hero, which is everyone's focus. Yeah, that's kind of when you tell stories of people in a military academy or any kind of magical school academy. It's like, we're going to be the best magician. We're going to be the best hero, the best adventurer, whatever. And the romance thing sort of happens along the way in these stories.
Yeah, I will say My Hero is one of the few ones where the main character isn't just some like asexual, like he doesn't like have feeling. He only just wants the to be the best thing of whatever he's aiming for. Like he actually acts like a human.
Right. Even with like a character like Naruto.
It's like one of the few times. Well, even with Naruto wanted had the hots for Sakura. Like he acted that out.
Yes.
It's not like Luffy, where Luffy just doesn't care about women at all.
Right. And
or like Goku.
And the actual character who likes Naruto is doing her own thing as well. She has her own issues to deal with. So,
yeah, exactly.
Like, there's nothing wrong with having romance. She's referring specifically to one-dimensional characters who exist only for the male lead. But again, there's the whole romance genre where that's the point. So
even Sword Art Online, which is arguably one of the worst, is probably one of the things she's thinking of with this. Even in that show, not Asuka, what's her name?
Asuna.
Asuna. She lives for Kirito, but she still is her own person and has her own goals to an extent.
Yeah.
Like she's not like her only is like, I love Kirito and that's it. Like she like yes.
And a lot
SAO
of these
is like just popcorn. Like this is hilarious. I'm loving this. Like it's nothing. It's nothing deep.
Right.
But at least it still has like each character is their own person to an extent.
Yeah, and a lot of these, I would say the 90s more so with like Ranma and these other romance style comedies. They're episodic in nature, so there's no overarching plot line like to graduate or get married.
Right.
So they focus on one character here and they focus on another character there, and everyone gets their moment or their episode or their season, and it evolves. They grow up and they change a bit. So it's not just here's a romance comedy. It's here's a main lead with all these conflicts of how could he be surrounded by so many women? Like, how does this work? And they just go through all the conflicts and all the hurdles and what the girls' motivations are, what their personalities are, and what his reaction is, which is usually the male Japanese, I wouldn't say stiff upper lip, but like avoid women at all costs sort of deal until they force you to say something. Or it happens all the time.
Woman, I no longer wish to be horny.
Yeah, like Love Hina and Ichigo 100% and all these other ones are just, it's always like the last possible moment to have a romantic scene. Everything else is the build.
I mean, to be fair, Naruto kind of did that where suddenly he's just interested in Hinata in the last movie before like the original Naruto series ended.
Well, that's
like it was literally just, and suddenly he likes Hinata. Like there was no lead up to it at all. It was hilarious.
That's kind of the problem with young romance or young men romance is once you have the established romance, it's like, okay, the conflict is done. And then you have to build, if you want to continue the story in that same tone, you have to then generate new conflict, which I'm watching, or I'm reading rather. What's that shy girl, Komi-san. Komi-san can't communicate. That's the manga, where it takes up to like episode or 100 or something long for them to finally admit their feelings to each other, but you already know they care about each other, and it's just this ridiculous, like everyone around them is quirky and weird. So the story isn't just about romance, but it's obvious it is, because everything else around it is so goofy and funny and silly and charming. And then when you get there, it's like, oh, now they're officially a couple, but you know, the people around them are still reacting and doing their lifestyle and being goofy. Now they're going on a date with everyone else and goofy stuff happens. So the story is not really about them. It's sort of everyone as well as them. It becomes this gigantic, huge menagerie, I guess, of characters just coming in and out of the spotlight, which is fun. It's like it's more than just romance, which I think manga is really great at combining genres and jumping around and still adhering to the main focus of the story, which is the genre. All right. So
the Mikasa from Attack on Titan was the weirdest example of this. Mary Sue type, and at the end of this last season, she became a love interest for Eren. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in anime.
Well, with Mikasa,
Yeah, but it doesn't Attack on Titan have some really like the guy wrote himself into a corner and then had no idea what to do, so he just kind of went fuck it right at the end. Like I haven't
He got inspired
watched past
by
like season 2, nor have I read much of the manga. So I'm just because I had very little interest in it.
well,
I've read the manga and I hate it so much.
That's the consensus I've heard, because he literally just kind of went, "Fuck it, I don't care. I'm done with this." I just wrote a
He got inspired by Game of Thrones.
well, the premise is you've got the strong girl, you've got the smart guy, and then you've got the guy who never gives up. Like that's the idea. And then you go to their backstories, and Mikasa was always, I wouldn't say infatuated, but just super protective.
She was a Mary Sue, I think. She hadn't any flaws. She doesn't have any particular flaw in the story or in her character.
I didn't really pick up on that because I stopped reading it after a certain point. I thought, okay, this isn't for me. There's too many plot lines, and then the second chapter is like all these other characters, and it's even more complex. I'm like, all right, this is getting, my interest is not there. It's just I couldn't hold on to it. And with the popularity of the anime, I was like, oh, this is different, because the anime was overshadowing the manga, I think. And
by production, definitely.
oh,
yeah,
God,
like
yeah.
the anime lived off its production value this entire time. Like it, and that's why when they when I heard they changed studios and I looked at some of the more recent stuff, it's very clear that the new studio didn't know what they were doing.
Anime is not still finished. They're making.
Yeah, no, I know it's
for
not.
season 3.
I thought this was
They're
last season this year.
Oh yeah, it was,
Yeah,
and then they cut that in half.
There are 3 parts of it, but we have
3 parts.
No, they're making the 3rd part. We have 2 parts of it. 2 parts of the last season.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, they're milking this for everything they can.
Yeah, they call it the final season, part 2.
This is worse. This is worse than Game of Thrones or Harry Potter, with how bad they're milking the last little bit they can get out. At least with Harry Potter, they kind of started telling different stories with the movies, but like with cutting the last book into 2 parts.
No, Harry Potter is garbage. They have no excuse.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the Mechanist for 333. Thank you, sir. Good news, everyone. I bought a new printer to scan my drawings because my book got published up by a publisher. Awesome. I'm taking you all to strange lands with strange but familiar cultures and unspeakable horrors. And I'm keeping the spirit of Star Wars alive. Oh, my. The spiritual thingy, blah, blah, story adjacent to Star Wars. I don't know. It could be many things. But good to hear. Thank you, sir. If you give us some information on the Discord or wherever you are, I will be happy to check out your link to your book if it's ever going to come out on Amazon or wherever you're publishing it. That would be cool. All right. We're 7 minutes in. Let's see what more examples we get from Colleen.
Akito Soma from Fruits Basket. Ooh, okay. How can she be a background maiden when she's the main villain and the sole reason why everyone in the Soma family is suffering? Help them, please. But I digress. Akito is the head of the Soma family. She was severely abused by her insane mother and pushed into being a boy. She had major insecurities which would cause her to lash out at any female that came near her, and she was afraid of rejection and of being alone. While she did have feelings for Shigure and tried everything to make him obey her, her sole motivation was, in essence, freedom and acceptance. She wanted to be herself without her mother treating her horribly for it, and to be accepted for who she is without being abandoned by anyone. She's a package, to say the least, but I can't fully say her motivations were solely fixated around Shigure. She was scared of losing him, but that just spawns from her fears and insecurities. Like I said, she's a package.
Okay, so I had to redo this segment because I totally messed up, mainly because I barely remember Soul Eater. Marie Mjolnir worked hard most of her life to become a Death Scythe and serve the Shinigami. She actually did meet her goal and is one of the more successful Death Scythes in the series, but is at a point in her life where she wants to retire and find a husband. Given how Japan negatively pressures women into marriage by a certain age or else be deemed too old for marriage, you can understand how Marie feels being a successful woman but with no husband. At the same time, when she became a teacher, she actually found herself loving her new job and devotes herself to her students. Ultimately, she succeeded her first goal in becoming a Death Scythe. Despite her actually loving her new job and wanting to do her best for her students and for the school, she really wants to find a husband and retire. Not really sure how to judge this one because she has several goals, but one of them is finding a man, so how about this? We just give her half a point. Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
She literally got her goal. Now she has a new goal, which is she wants to retire and build a family. That's not a bad thing. That's actually...
Exactly.
Like, she literally, and I mean, in that show, everyone in that show wants to, all the weapons want to eventually be a Death Scythe. That is like the top tier job you could possibly be, is working for Lord Death as a weapon. Like,
is this YouTuber a man-hating feminist?
No.
no, they're fighting, they're arguing against Colleen.
Yeah, I know, but why did she give her half point?
Because
that's
Colleen's
what
argument is
Colleen-
that all the characters she's voiced want to find a man.
I
Which
guess like she
tech-
wants to be fair. And, like,
Right, yeah. So
can give her a bow.
I think the idea was that it was a one-dimensional desire, like they just want to find a man, but the YouTuber's explaining, well, there's much more to that character, even though they also want to find a husband. So she's saying, fine, you're not wrong, but there's more to it.
Like, the joke with Marie in that show is that she kept, like, she's always complaining about having to do more work because she wants to go date and find a husband. Like, that's one of her running gags in that show after she's introduced. And then when she meets Stein, who she begins to fall for because, one, they grew up together, her and Stein. So it's kind of like a Maka soul thing.
Just wants to be fair. The YouTuber just wants to be fair with Colleen.
Yeah, the YouTuber's just trying to throw her bone, needless to say.
It's not a big deal. Yeah.
Some voice actress said a wrong thing, but get over it.
Sure. Here is Louis Seems Gay. I don't know who Louis is, but thank you for telling us that. The case with Naruto is that he had the hots for a mid chick and ended up with an infinitely thicker bitch. Okay. Anyway, man, I never thought Knicker Bobber or whatever that her name is could be this dumb. You know what? It could have been off the cuff remark. We don't know. I don't know the context of that conversation. We just got a quote. So
it was probably at a con somewhere where she was doing like a Q&A.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, women are so strong, and I wish my characters were stronger, and they only have love on their mind." You're like, did you think about what you've been doing in the past?
Not like that.
I don't know. Who knows?
That's where most of these really dumb comments from VAs come from. Is that or Twitter? Because there's no PA person or PR person standing behind them saying, "Don't say that, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that," because they're just sitting at a panel at a convention.
All right, let's keep going.
Hey?
Android 18 from Dragon Ball Z starts off as an android programmed to serve Dr. Giro, but her and her brother quickly disobey him, doing whatever the hell they want. She was also supposed to be used to complete Cell's transformation into Perfect Cell, but is then rescued by Krillin. She later on joins the Z Fighters, falls in love with Krillin, and they have a daughter together. Deep down, 18's sole motivation is just to look after her family. She wants enough money to pay the bills and care for her daughter while also being strong enough to protect her home from any other invaders. Goku even enlists her and Krillin for the Tournament of Power because she is one of the strongest fighters he knows. She's only willing to do it for the prize money, but grows concerned for Krillin's safety since she knows this will be a difficult tournament to partake in. Is her motivation solely fixated around Krillin or any other male warrior? Not really. Her and Krillin work together to look after their family and their home. That's not really a female character solely supporting a man or putting aside her wants and desires in order for Krillin to be happy. She just wants to protect her family and work alongside her husband to make it happen. Ran Mori from Detective Conan is Shinichi's childhood friend and eventual girlfriend. She's intelligent and captain of her school's karate team. While she is attracted to Shinichi, her sole motivation throughout the series is, confess right now that you're Shinichi, you little Basically, she helps Conan with his cases while looking after him as a sisterly figure, but highly suspects Conan of being Shinichi the whole time. Since her father and Shinichi are involved in detective work, she tends to help out when solving cases and attacks anyone who threatens her or her friends with her skills in karate. She's not really a background character or solely fixated on Shinichi, but she finds herself helping a little boy and sometimes her boyfriend in solving cases. The whole point of the show is watching this brilliant detective solve these random cases while in the body of a child, and Ron is there to help. Even though Ron is a strong protagonist, she is there to help the main male lead, so that's 1 point for Colleen here.
That's a supporting character. That's what they're supposed to do. The story's about a detective.
The story is not called. It's called Detective Conan, not girlfriend who tags along.
Yeah.
The thing is, even if they go for Colleen's side,
I already forgot about her name. Like that's how forgettable she was. I just know that goddamn series is still on. Like, how the fuck can you write so many mysteries? Like, no.
You know, if the mysteries were really complicated, I'd be like impressed. But I watched a few episodes. I'm like, it's not bad, but it doesn't like. Again, when I talk about quality, I talk about you get the best mystery novelist you could find. Read that and go, oh, this is how mystery is done. So if I read Agatha Christie or Dashiell Hammett or all these other very well-known dudes and ladies who write murder mysteries, then you go to this, you're like, oh, okay, this is for kids. It's fine, but
yeah,
not for me.
I had a buddy of mine. Like, he has been following Detective Conan since the 2000s, and he has still following it. And he says he's like, where the fuck is this gonna end?
the thing is,
I'm assuming it's along the same lines of like Scooby-Doo in terms of like it's like
Appeal?
mystery-esque. They're not like multi-episode mysteries. They're just like one and done.
There is like essentially there's like a main plot that they want to get this agency that is behind, like they wear like black clothes, and they are named after like heavy drinks like tequila and vodka, that kind of stuff. Like he's trying to track them down so like he can get a cure for his age regression bullshit.
Yeah,
but like that's it. That's the main plot.
And there's other mangas and anime out there that have detectives or kids at detective school they're very short-lived. Like one was called Detective Q or Detective School Q or something like that. And there was like the logician dude who's the main lead. There's the girl with the perfect memory. There's the guy with really strong sense of smell or whatever. Like everyone's got their own specialty. And there's a sinister organization. I know it's a very cliche, stupid idea in detective stories to have the evil organization plotting against everyone, but they have that, and there's a plot line for that, and it goes to a certain degree. I think the writing stopped, because it's silly, but there was a whole overarching point to that compared to Detective Conan, which just keeps going and going and going. And it's hard for me to watch a story about a guy who's been minimized into a child and solving crimes in general, and hopefully to find the organization who has the potion so he could go back to being a young adult again. It's like, okay, not for me.
Murder mysteries and Deadly Premonition are the best.
Oh my gosh. Deadly Premonition. Yeah, that would... Oh boy, if you turned Deadly Premonition into an anime, that would be
Awesome.
I don't know. I'd want to watch it, of course, but I don't know which director would take that in the right direction. That'd be
There's something else, really.
maybe
Oh my god.
maybe JoJo. I don't know. Like, you go crazy. Like, there's so much nuts in that game. It just drives you crazy. Anyway, here's the Copper Owl for $1.11. Blair is best girl in Soul Eater. Also forgot to change my name from the Mechanist. Also, Medusa is also best girl if you dig crazy. Okay. Yes, she might turn me into a monster, but joke's on you. I'm into that shit.
Okay.
I'm glad.
No King Shane.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys understand your anime female characters very well, because these are so obscure. I'm like, I think I know that, but I never really watched it. I just might have heard about it.
Medusa is the witch that uses the arrows. If you see, like, she's the main villain through like the first like half of the anime.
Oh, all right, cool.
Riza Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist is the perfect soldier. She is a no-nonsense officer who is strict and disciplined. Her motivations are around one thing and one thing only: Mustang. Yeah, this is another point for Colleen. Riza is not only Mustang's bodyguard, but
Really? But that was written by a woman.
Yeah, and also,
Why is she unhappy when she's giving a point to Colleen?
there's a
Because it enters on the standard made by Colin.
I have to just, I mean, I'll disagree with the YouTube on this one. No, it's still not a point towards Colleen, because Riza, one, they're in the military, so she's going to follow her superior's orders. There's times when she doesn't, and she clearly just, like the whole scene with Scar in the rain, when Mustang tries to use his flame alchemy in the rain, and Neela gets himself killed, and she saves him by knocking him on his ass in 2 seconds, and then points out, "You're useless here, Colonel." He just gets very upset. But the reason why she follows after him is because she owes him for saving her life. And also for removing the burden of knowing flame alchemy from her. There's a reason why she follows him. It's not just, oh, he's a man, so I'm following him. Which is what Colleen's point.
They do happen to be romantically involved later, but it's this sense of military duty and superiority, and she's my
yeah. But it's another case of where they've known each other for years. Like, they're old friends. They're not just like, they didn't just meet in the military.
Right. She's not some one-sided, I'm the person who longing for this man. It's like, I have a job, I have a role and responsibilities, and I just so happen to love this man as time goes on. So
yeah, like Mustang first met her when he went to learn alchemy, because he went to her father, who was invented flame alchemy. That's how they met. This was years before he became a state alchemist.
yeah, these characters aren't one-sided. I'm sorry. What's wrong with having a character who has multiple goals, multiple interests, and one of those things happen to be the opposite sex? I'm not really seeing a problem with that characterization here.
Yeah, it's just that Colleen is a modern feminist, so any woman who doesn't actively hate men is just a bored, tired trope.
And plus, we're talking about a ensemble cast on a plot line which is not romance. There's barely any romance in this story, and all of a sudden you have this little moment of this man and a woman, and you're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the biggest romance in Full Metal Alchemist is between Edward and Winry.
And that's so far and few between. It's like barely in it.
But it's also because they're a 15-year-old and a Winry's I think Winry's 16. Like they're young adult, they're
Yeah.
they're teenagers. They're not young adults, so they're awkward as all hell with each other, and it's adorable.
Right.
Like all the like their interactions, like they're well written characters. They're not just like stereotypically tropey romance like comedy.
Right, and even Winry has a job, and I believe there was a rivalry between the two brothers. And did Winry like the younger brother more? I couldn't remember how that worked.
Ed and Al both liked her, and Al won.
Oh,
And then Winry shut him down. Turned him down.
I see.
And yeah, because with Ed and Al, Al's always won their physical fights.
Right.
Even when Al was shorter than him, they've always won, and that's why when Ed knocks Al into the lake after getting his automail back after the Scar fight, that's the first time Ed's won a fight physically with Al.
All right. Anyway.
So,
but also his support. He has a goal in mind and will reach it no matter the cost, and she loyally stays by his side to keep him in check. At times, she sees herself as a glorified babysitter to Mustang's irresponsible nature, but will at times risk her life to protect him and their dreams, while also making sure he doesn't lose himself to pointless bloodshed like in the fight with Envy. She wants to follow the Colonel and help him achieve his goals, but that still doesn't make her a weak character. Far from it. Mocha Akashiya from Rosario plus Vampire. Okay, yeah, no argument. 3 points, there we go.
I haven't seen that, so I can't.
Can't judge.
Okay,
It's a romance comedy. It's supposed to be. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine.
And most girls in any harem are interested in the male lead. That's basically the point of a harem.
Yes.
Mocha is the first girl to take a liking to Sukune.
Also, I'm pretty sure this was like a mid-2000s when like harem was like really big.
Well, she has two personalities,
big.
and she's cursed, so she's got this thing where she has to keep her powers in check. And again, I don't have a problem with this. This is the point. It's supposed to be a rival romance story in monster school place. And
I'm just saying, my point was like it's mid-2000s, so it's like during the boom of when like harem anime was like everywhere to an extent.
Latina,
you know how like there's
was around this time.
like because like right now we're in the Isekai boom where there's just Isekai everywhere.
Right.
And before this it was the well no I guess the SAO thing is still
Battle
Isekai.
Shonen?
Yeah, but either way, she could have played roles in other genres, and if she just played in romance anime or harem anime, then yeah, she could say, hey, I wish I had more roles in other genres. You're like, okay, go for it. What's stopping you? Go try other gigs. But there's nothing wrong with having a romance be about romance and not having her have this backstory and she has this childhood trauma. But she does actually have some of that as well. She's not just one-sided. I love the main character because he smells nice. I don't know, he's a human and he has nice blood or something. But she has her own issues to deal with as well. And that's kind of what you do in these stories as the guy gets to know this magical woman. What is it? There's a trope for that. It's the same with the magical space. Like what's Space Invader Lum? Was that where it came from? I think you have the magical dominating female conqueror, and he's wait, I'm going to join high school and flirt with this Japanese boy, and we're going to get together. So there's that sort of trope where they're this alien creature that the main character has to get to know, and they have all their strange foreign ways, and it's with all the girls in this story. They're all magical, fictitious fantasy characters. Like one's a succubus, one's a water spirit or an ice spirit, I think. Ice creature, and she has her ice family with her. So he has to deal with all of them. And it's episodic, so every character gets their time to shine. I don't see a problem with that formula for a romance anime or a romance genre in general. It's just a colorful, silly, weird-looking thing. But it's cute. And it's funny. So it's actually, I wouldn't say it's perverse, but there are some perverted scenes. They like to have a lot of audacious women running around flirting with the main lead, but that's part of the charm of the genre. So I don't mind it. It's not very mature, but it's fun. Why not? Doesn't bother anyone. Well, at least it shouldn't.
But mostly for his blood. Mocha has 2 different personalities depending on if she's wearing her rosario or not. Outer Mocha is sweet, kind, and meek, while inner Mocha is blunt, brutal, strong, and she said no pickles! Despite being an impressively strong vampire and a brute force if you mess with her or her friends, her sole motivation is fixated around the main character, Sukune, because of his kind nature and for his delicious blood. Alright, and as for our last character, yeah, nah, that's not even close, Colleen. Urza Flippin' Scarlet is probably the strongest member of Fairy Tail and one of the main characters in the series. Her motivations are to get stronger and to look out for her guild. Because of her tragic past in the Tower of Heaven, she would describe herself as someone who used to cry because she never had the strength to protect anyone dear to her. She vows to become as strong as possible to make sure all of her friends and her guild are protected, and they won't have to suffer like she did. Is she doing this to support a man or to appeal to someone? No. Even if she has feelings towards another person, her motivations are her own, and they are to protect and grow stronger. She is one of the strongest female protagonists a lot of fans look up to, and she's a pretty incredible character to admire.
So basically, out of the 10 popular characters she's voiced, 6.5 of them do not match her statement. They each have their own motivations outside of supporting a man and appealing to a man. Even with the other 3.5 though, they're each strong in their own right and have ways of dealing with numerous situations in their own unique ways.
There's thousands of female characters ranging from leading strong roles to background support. The same can also be said from male characters, but this isn't me saying it's always been equal, far from it. There are more male leads than female leads, but that doesn't mean we need to immediately fix it by pushing male characters aside and creating more shows just for the sake of equality. The priority should always be story. Without a good story and compelling characters to carry the story, the audience will not watch the show, even if it has a diverse range of characters. Hell, I chose To Your Eternity as the best anime of 2021.
Really?
And it was led by a sentient life form that just exists to learn and grow from its surroundings.
I don't know if you guys have watched that. I haven't seen all of it, but it's a weird story. It's a very strange story. But it's pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it. It's very well done. It takes about 5 episodes to get into anywhere because it's this little ball of a machine that learns as it touches living things and it copies it, and then it has to be taught how to do things, but essentially it can never die. So it just keeps copying more forms. But while that's happening, there's this other machine out there that's a little different that can steal the forms. And as it steals the forms, it also steals the memories. So he's always trying to stop those things that keep coming after him and to crush them before that happens. And he just keeps going on and on and on as he replicates and copies more people and learns from them and has more lessons on life and what it means to be human, or in that case, an animal. It's a weird, fun story, but it's pretty, like it's big on the drama. So it's some crazy liquor maker who makes a guy have a bladder in his stomach to pump out liquor so he could spit fire. It's like this crazy story. And he ends up duplicating that person before he dies. So he remembers him, has all his memories. It's a wild, like this is what you expect from anime, right? Crazy, fantastical science fiction stories. So, yeah. Good stuff. Sorry?
Instead of watching a new anime, I'm rewatching Cowboy Bebop.
Hey! There's nothing wrong with that. That's my favorite, so go for it.
I'm still watching Escaflowne.
Yeah, the show and the movie, or just the show?
The show.
Yeah.
Both of them. I watched both of them.
Yeah, every time.
And I'm rewatching it.
Every time I watch the movie, it reminds me of Chrono Cross because the artist was the same. And I'm getting all these updates on Chrono Cross because they did a remaster. I think just came out, and I'm like, oh, geez.
And I think it's not good. The remaster isn't good.
Oh, you're kidding? Oh no, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, I watched Digital Foundry review of it, technical review of it.
Oh,
And it's terrible on frame rate, on the visuals.
yeah.
everything.
I just watched today a video. Some guy recreated the town of Arnie. I can't remember which town it was. It was either the original town or the other dimension town of the seaside village in Unreal 5. And
Wow.
yeah, no, it looks amazing. Like it looks pixel perfect, but like high res. Everything's animated. The other cutscene of the dock, like that's all he did. He just recreated the town, and it just looks gorgeous. So I'm like, gee, that's gonna get, if he keeps doing that, because I don't know if you guys remember what happened with was it the Revolutions project or Chrono Remaster? The bunch of fans made their own remaster.
The Chrono Trigger one?
Yeah, that was
I remember that one.
that was Unreal
That's
3.
Square Enix.
It was like 98% done, and then Square Enix put a cease and desist, and they're like, fuck.
Instead, they re-released their own remaster of the SNES ROM on DS. I like
Yeah,
oh,
Japan.
thank you.
Japan is, especially Japanese companies, they're weird. Like they'll leave, except on Nintendo. Most of them will leave fan stuff alone until they're about to release their own thing, and then they start sending out cease and desists. Like you can always tell when something's coming when they're about to release something because they start shutting down fan projects.
I know. The weird thing is, though,
It's so weird with that because on the law, Japan is very strict when it comes to copyright.
right.
Like as a whole, and they don't force it, with the exception of like anime companies. They're the only ones that like really abuse copyright,
Yeah.
especially on YouTube.
The thing, though, with that project is I don't think they were trying to monetize it. They weren't trying to like make a sale. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Japanese copyright doesn't care.
yeah.
It's completely in favor of the copyright holder, which I can understand completely. I completely understand wanting to protect your product.
Yeah.
It's just if you are not the copyright holder, you are screwed. You will not win that fight. That's just how it is in Japan when it comes to copyright.
I just wish those guys put it somewhere public and then let the internet deal with it. And then they say, well, I didn't know you guys wanted it. We took it down as soon as you asked, but hey, sorry, it's already out there. Can't help you.
Yeah, that's what if you ever used YouTube Advanced.
I
Google,
use.
Okay, just so you know, you can still use it. You just can't. It's not going to be updated or downloaded anymore. So if you have the APK, you can still use it. YouTube or Google sent a cease and desist. Because basically what it did was it gave you a bunch of YouTube Premium functions, like background playing. You could lock your phone and it'll keep playing. You don't have to pay Google $5 a month for something that should be default, and not you should have to pay extra for. All it did was basically tick a little box in the YouTube API that tricked it into thinking you had. It also has like ad block built in. It has like it can skip in intros and outros of videos, so it just gets to the video. So
Handy. All right. Anyway, we have 6 minutes left. Doing okay.
More interesting than what they were trying to do with High Guardian Spice. As for the female leads that I admire, well, let's try to keep this one brief. Sailor Moon! I don't care what you guys say, she's a strong female lead who's only a victim to 90s writing, don't at me! Sailor Moon's motivation is just to live a peaceful life with her friends and her boyfriend Mamoru. Not clearly fixated solely on Mamoru, but she just wants enough power to make sure that the Earth is safe and everyone can live in peace. Sai Takanashi from Saints Magic is omnipotent. Motivation? To do something worthwhile since she was plucked from her normal life and tossed aside when she wasn't as pretty as the other girl. Again, oof. Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop. Motivation? To pay off her insane amount of debt by any means necessary. Midori, Sayaka, and Tsubame from Keep Your Hands Off of Eizouken. Motivation? To create their own anime with the little amount of budget they have. Konata Izumi from Lucky Star. Motivation? To have a comfy life playing video games and watching anime. I mean, seriously, what else can I say? She's living the dream. Haruhi Suzumiya from the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Motivation?
She's
to seek out
literally
any
God.
forms of supernatural entities like aliens, time travelers, and espers. Did I mention that she's a god?
Uh-huh.
She's
Raftalia
not
from the
a
Rising
god.
Shield.
She is God.
She is God, yes.
He is God.
God or goddess?
Who can't be
God.
allowed to know that she's God, or else we'll just fuck up the universe.
Yeah, at that point, gender doesn't matter. She is God, period.
Maybe
Oh,
she's non-binary.
She is the God.
yeah. It's a terrifying story, but yeah.
Hero. Okay, this is a point I can give for Colleen since her motivations revolve around Naofumi, but the fact that he saved her from imprisonment and illness while giving her the strength to fight back against the injustices that took her entire family away, can you blame her? Perona from To Your Eternity. Motivation? To prevent more girls from dying like her sister did while shedding light to the truth that the whole sacrificial ceremonies are completely fabricated. And of course, how could I honestly forget Alice Seno from Alice 19th? Please give this girl a goddamn anime already! Motivation? To become a more confident and strong person while standing up to her bullies and protecting her friends from dark entities plaguing people's hearts. Seriously, this manga needs an anime, give it one! Overall, I understand what Colleen is trying to say. Shonens are mostly male dominant and cater to the male demographic, despite the fact that the female demographic watches too. And the same can be said vice versa for the shoujo audience catering to the female demographic, despite having a male audience as well. As long as the stories are good and the characters are likable, then who cares who's watching? Colleen just wants to see more female shonens in order for boys to see these female leads as inspiring as the male leads. She even addressed this criticism that she was getting, but still sticking to her statement, like we need to push for more female leads in shonen. While I do understand...
Which is counterintuitive because you can't have shonen, which means young boy, and have a female lead, like a female main character, like the main character of the show is female. That's shoujo. You cannot have, just descriptively, you cannot have those two. You cannot have one thing. That you can't have that. Which is so stupid.
The other thing is that I don't think Japan gives a shit about her opinion. Because these shows,
no, they don't.
all they do is just dub it. There's Trigger, which has some producers overseas as well. But other than that, most of Japan's animation industry is only made for the Japanese audience. The fact that Westerners get to officially dub these shows is already a privilege by itself. They're I guess there's some interest in it. But main income comes from the Japanese audience themselves. So they are gonna be the ones who dictate what they actually gonna produce, what's gonna get to made to be an animation.
Yeah, Crunchyroll and Funimation are trying to push Western, ideals onto anime studios, and the anime studios are no. They're just telling them no. They're telling them how
backfiring.
Yes,
Crunchyroll and Funimation just merged together as a company because they can't stand on their own.
Well, yeah, because Sony bought them both.
Yeah.
They and what's nice is that anime companies are realizing that the internet is a thing now. They're actively learning, and they're going, oh, we can just release our show online, have our own in-house translators translate it to the various languages. We don't need to pay a dubbing company. We can just put subtitles on it, and the fans will come and watch our stuff. If Trigger just released their show on a Trigger website with a self-dub, I would pay for that. Just go watch any Trigger stuff. I don't watch dubs anyway because most dubs are garbage these days.
I never watched any good dubs, so
I know it's kind of strange, except for Sailor Moon and all those '90s animes. That's the only way you got.
Well, yeah, because we didn't know. Yeah, we had no way to access them. Seriously, the last dub I watched was Brotherhood, but that's only because I liked the entire cast of that show, and Fullmetal Alchemist as a series doesn't feel weird. Seeing them speak English, does that make sense? Because it's set in alternate Germany, basically.
Well, it does feel weird that like Germans speak English, but I guess like it's American thing.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like the European architecture, still, it's you go, okay, that makes sense. They're speaking English. It doesn't feel weird to have them in a Japanese city all speaking English. Does that make sense?
Not really,
Yeah,
because it's a show, but whatever.
But okay, anyway, my point being is, and also the dubbing for the like all the voices fit the characters extremely well. Like it doesn't, like all the voices just fit. It just works for that show. But I haven't watched a dub in. Yeah, no, because even when I go to like see any of Mamoru Hosoda's movies when they're in theaters, I always actively find a viewing that has subtitles. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna pay Funimation. I don't want to see Funimation's crappy dub of this show.
All right. Well, I
The
think
only dubs that I watched was Death Note, Cowboy Bebop, and Death Parade. They were good.
Oh yeah, like we have to mention the Ghost Stories English dub, the original one. It's the best.
I only
Nothing
watch
will ever
it-
get close to that.
I only watch it dubbed in Portuguese, so I don't I don't have opinion.
Portuguese.
Wait, Matthias, that's Brazilian Portuguese for you.
Well, yes, but we just call Portuguese
Two
here.
completely different languages.
okay. All right. Anyway,
But I will say, the entire Ghost Stories series is on YouTube for free. Go watch it. It's worth watching. 'Cause
Being
it's
dubbed,
just-
I some people told me that it is funny.
Yes, it is. It. Yeah, the dub is horrendous. Like, it's not not what it was originally said, but they don't make any allusions to the fact that it was, a properly translated dub. It's literally just off the wall insane.
okay. We got 4 minutes left. Here we go.
Stand that statement. I just flat out disagree with her point of view. Like, I'm all for female shonens and welcoming new female strong leads. But what's the solution? The only solutions I can really think of are either making your own anime, which has worked in good and bad ways, or encouraging mangakas to produce female shonen.
Oh no, the super likes Korra. Oh gosh.
Well,
Okay.
I heavily disagree.
I don't know what she means by female shonen, but I think she means a shonen story with lots of female characters or good female characters, which is what we already
No, I
have.
think what
Oh, that's a
I,
show.
th- I,
No,
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 I
no.
think because what they want is a shonen anime. Just it's 100% a shonen anime. Same beats, same everything, but it's just a female character as the lead instead of a male.
Those
Everything else is
can
the same.
actually
They just
show
want
those.
I know, I understand, and these people
They
don't
want a
realize.
token. They want a tokenized character.
Yes, exactly. They don't understand that these words have meanings. It's not just a word that we made up to describe this. I guarantee you, a lot of these people think shonen came from Shonen Jump.
I don't think you should take someone seriously when her name is Colleen Clinkenbeard.
Yeah, we don't take Swedish people.
We don't take Swedish
seriously.
people seriously. Okay. Anyway, here's Samurai Shampoo. Samurai Shampoo. That's what I originally pronounced that. The the OVA. Sorry, the OVA of Hellsing Ultimate is fantastic in English. Yes, I agree, because the VAs seem to give a shit. It's also allows the voice actors to go crazy, so it's pretty cool.
Yes.
With Crisp on Freeman. With Crisp on Freeman being okay.
Crispin Freeman.
Okay, I see 3 words there. So Crisp on is 2 words.
It might have auto corrected to him because
Okay.
it's the guy who plays what's his name, the main vampire, Crispin Freeman, is the voice actor for him.
Not Alucard, but Arcardo, or whatever you call them. The single standout performance, I will say, though, the Japanese dub sucked hard and through a straw. Wow.
Helsing's Japanese dub was bad.
Yeah, the original, yeah.
The original. Well, that's a
Ultimate-
strange statement.
Ultimate's pretty over the top, so you're allowed to go crazy. So
I mean, like, it's pretty difficult to read subtitles in your native language while watching animation. I know.
Yeah, I do like Ultimate better, not because it's there's more budget, but because they allow for the manga style of art to be imposed at times, which is kind of funny. So when they have like these lighthearted moments, it's just like cutesy little characters running around in super deformed manner, and they jump back.
The only thing I didn't like about the OVAs is that like the final 2 or 3 episodes were done by a different company, and like that like really looks like it. Like in
what was that other anime by the or that other series by the Hellsing Ultimate writer and manga the
Drifters.
Drifters, yeah. Well, I really hope that gets another season at some point because it was an interesting idea. It was like a bunch of famous people from different time periods were all pulled into this one. It's an isekai basically. They were all pulled into like a separate dimension where they all had to they had to fight some war for some like different factions. And it was it was watching like just different famous people from across time interacting in war basically. Like and they all had like special superpowers in this world that obviously related to who they were in history. Like I'm pretty sure Jean of Arc is one person. Nobunaga is one.
You're not talking about Fate Stay Night right now.
No.
No,
it's
no. No, it's Drifters. It's Drifters. It's Drifters. Like that's the name of the show. Because the characters are called Drifters because they would just drift into this universe. Like they just would show up randomly.
Yeah. So you have like fantasy elements with like elves and dwarves and what have you. So it is cool. It is an interesting story. It does remind me a little bit of Fate Stay Night because there is characters from history that they're just it's a little more, I wouldn't say brutal, but I think Fate Stay Night is also pretty brutal as well. So
as far as I'm aware, Fate Stay Night kind of leans more into like the magical bit of it, where like with Drifters it was more like they have special attacks, shonen special anime attacks, but they're not like magical beings, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, they do have skills and what have you, but I think there are magicians as well. So there's a whole elemental or magical element to it. But it's focusing. I haven't watched
it in a while. I only watched it once, and so it was entertaining from what I remember because it was just like it's another case where it's just insane.
Yeah, that's why I say it's like Fate Stay Night because these magicians sort of try and get these individuals to come over and fight their wars. So
it's more like it's like one certain entity that it's like a line of doors. I remember the scene because it's the main character that you follow. He gets pulled in, I think, as he's dying.
Right.
And then he is like a line of doors. There's a person there's like a secretary guy sitting at a desk reading a newspaper, and then a door opens behind him and leads the main character through into this parallel world.
Yeah, no, it is a cool, that's probably what he's second most known for because Hellsing Ultimate was hugely popular, and then that was his longest running other story that he published.
Well, yeah. Drifters? Oh, I didn't know that. Because, I'd only seen it had gotten the one season, and then it just kind of went nowhere.
I don't know the anime more than I know the manga, so there's lots of, I don't know how many chapters, at least 4 or 5. But I haven't read it all. But yeah, no, you gotta like that kind of style. And it's always like over the top and magic this and warrior.
Yeah, I mean that's to be fair, especially with a lot of anime and manga, you have to be able to deal with the artist's style.
Yeah,
it's like One Piece is the one I hear everyone complaining about the style a lot of the times.
I once you see a clamp, you're like, okay, that's the same studio, the same artist, or the same animators. Like, yep, we get it. We know what's going on. So.
Or like Trigger. It triggers Trigger and Gainax because they're basically
they're pretty good.
The same group.
Yep.
You can always tell when it's them doing a series.
All right, 3 minutes. Here we go.
That's basically what Funimation and online influencers are trying to encourage, but why ask someone else to make content about something they may or may not be interested in? I mean, Netflix is trying to do it, and then they made Yasuke. I mean, if you can partner up with a manga...
I mean, Yasuke is about a I mean, I'm gonna assume they didn't do it right, and they put it on a bunch of bullcrap, but he was a real person in history.
Yep.
A well-documented... He was a slave that ended up in Japan, and he's well-documented as being there.
Yeah, I know.
So, I'm gonna assume, because it's Netflix, that they put a lot of crap that wasn't accurate at all.
If Netflix have a lot of leeway with their anime line.
Well, okay, this came out during the pandemic, and a lot of people were like, "What's that? Oh, it's a black dude, and he's Japanese." Like, okay, here we go. So it's appealing to a certain group of people, and
I mean,
yeah, my question is, did Netflix commission this to be done, or was this another case of where it's Netflix just bought the rights to show it, and they call it a Netflix original?
Right, because it was probably, I don't know who did it originally, probably some Japanese mangaka or whatever. And was he involved, or was everything was just taken from his original story? I don't know. Like, I didn't pay attention, but I'm sure like it's not the fans, but the critics were like, "This is amazing," and the fans are like, "No, this is not that great." As usually happens on like Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes, where you have these bizarrely difference of scores between critics and fans. Same thing happened with Picard. You have like high 90s in Picard, and everything else is at the 40s and 30s. So, anyway, that's nothing new in the Netflix world.
To produce more female shonens, then good! Go for it! Have at it! Let's see it! Let's see if the story will be good! But what I'm ultimately asking for is, if the mangaka just wants to produce their own stories, then let them. Ultimately, it is not up to us and our politics to decide what Japan should and shouldn't be producing. They're the ones producing the manga, animating these stories for the world to see, and working tireless hours while experiencing deadly levels of exhaustion to make it all happen. Personally, I'd rather we address Japan's state of exhaustion rather than who's the lead character of the next big anime, but that's a topic for another day. I made this video not just to address Colleen's statement, but to have my arguments on standby in case anyone else makes a similar remark. Female anime characters' motivations are mostly revolved around supporting the male lead or trying to appeal to male characters, huh? Whether you believe Colleen was making this statement from naive ignorance or from disingenuous virtue signaling, there are plenty of strong female characters in shonen, shoujo, and more that have their own motivations outside of catering to the male counterparts. And you know what? There's definitely more to come.
Yeah, what do you do with Dragon Maid, with the main Dragon Maid who loves...
They just say boobies bad.
Yeah, she loves her master, so it's like, okay, well...
The Chinese treatment.
You can't have a female fantasy character like a female human. That's not good. Like, what?
Yeah, it's the case. It's the same case when people say, we hate women, but then we point out, Leia, Ripley, Terminator. Can't think of her name at the moment. I'm blanking on it.
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor. Yeah, sorry. I'm terrible with names. I always blank on them. But you know what I mean? Like, we point out all these well-known, beloved female characters. They go, well, those don't count.
Just say Daenerys.
Or they destroy the character. It's like, we can give all of these characters examples, and they'll say, "Oh, well, those don't count because they're not a proper woman because they just don't actively hate men."
Proper women. They don't act like
no. Like all these people who complain about there not being enough women characters are just modern feminists who just hate men.
No, the only reason they don't count them as real women because they come from 90s, I guess.
Well, I mean, like even just the modern characters, like from My Hero, or like Haruhi Suzushima, she's relatively recent. Demon Slayer, all these characters, they're this is like 30 years worth of female characters just on the screen that they're showing right now. And just because some of them happen to have a love interest.
There's darkness. I was like, oh, geez. Probably not the greatest example.
Who? That's love interest is not the problem. They don't want men as their love interest. They want lesbians or gays. I think so.
Well, once again, because they just don't like men. They've been told that men are bad.
Or they just want to trigger some demographics.
Yeah, the Japanese don't get hung up on all this understanding of stories, especially when they understand the human condition so well that they have this media format, this medium they've invented that can do all kinds of stories for all different kinds of people, and they realize that. They don't go, oh yeah, this genre is better than that genre, or no, they realize it like you go shopping for different fruits. Every fruit tastes a different way. It's in season at certain times, different sugar content. There's certain ways to prepare it, certain ways to cook it and eat it. And that's it. It's different. It's something for everyone. That's the great thing about going shopping.
The irony is they hate men, but they make their female characters act like men.
There are male and female traits in both males and females. That's pretty common. And
I know, but I'm talking about the fucking feminist movies in the recent years.
Oh, feminist movies? I don't know. I don't watch those. I couldn't tell you.
No,
I mean the fucking
Ghostbusters 2016
superhero movies, Ghostbusters.
It's literally
Captain Marvel, Ray Skywalker.
Ray's probably she didn't have a personality in the first place, but like with Ghostbusters 2016, they literally just tried to do what Ghostbusters 1 and 2 did with like the male comedy.
Well,
but with female comedians.
Well, yes,
who can't do that comedy. Like just
well, no.
I'm sure that they can be funny.
Yes, but
they just can't. They could not do that comedy.
The way that they did that movie was they had no script, or they had an idea for a script, but they just allowed the comedians to say whatever they want, and they ran with that.
Yeah, I mean,
and they kept recording, which is not what you do in a script. A script, you follow it. With the original Ghostbusters, they knew what they were doing. They wrote the script together. I think it was the Egon character, the actor actually wrote it. So he knew what was funny. He talked to everyone, said, this is what we're going to do. And they went along with it. They might have changed some lines. I don't know. I wasn't there. And it worked because they're comedians, as opposed to off-the-cuff random shit, which wasted everyone's time.
Hold on.
Also, here's the thing. The original Ghostbusters were actually skilled comedians. Like, they actually, were funny. The 2016 Ghostbusters, these were people who just have only read stuff off scripts. Like, as far as I'm aware, every time I've seen them in something, they're not funny. Like, they're trying to be funny.
They're cringy.
But they're not. Yes, and here's the thing. I feel for them for trying to, they want to try to be comedians. They got pushed forward because they didn't have the talent to be funny, which is unfortunate. Well, they just aren't funny people.
I would argue they can be funny. They just didn't do it the right way, which is to write a script.
Yeah, right. They didn't, and they also, like I said, they didn't have the skills to do what they were trying to do. Like, what's her name? The black female character in
right.
Her like the one thing I will say that did make me laugh was her slapping the shit out of the short fat female character in that when she thinks she's possessed.
And that was in the
trailer. And it's like by the power of Pam.
Black female character slapping another woman.
Her delivery of like just a whole like being like an exorcist like type thing, like by the power of Pam I reject, like that whole bit that was actually funny, but just because it's a physical comedy slapstick bit which is legitimately funny, and her like out of all of them I think she's the most shot. Like but I'm saying at least I'll give them this. They at least got a laugh out of me because it was a funny scene that they had. Now, if that was the only part in that entire movie that made me laugh, you have a problem there when it's supposed to be a comedy.
All right. Well, I haven't seen the film, but what I've gleaned from articles on YouTube, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to see that. I don't have to. But I could identify most of these characters on the screen, which is odd. I don't know their names, all of them, but I was like, I've seen them. I've seen that. I know what they do. There's Dirty Pear. You've got Persona 5 over here. So, yeah, all good
anyway,
stories.
I can see Maka, Asuka, Rukia, what's her name from Madoka?
No. Like, let's just move on.
Yeah, I'll just keep going.
Yeah, no, I'm just seeing like even characters are just background characters. Like they're not like major players in the series. Like they're tons of good female characters.
So Iskaflon, there in the bottom left.
Oh yeah, you're right. Hitomi, right there.
Even I think right there in the middle with the red like winged shoulder piece.
I'm also going to end this
Seiya,
video
isn't
with
it?
a quote that some of you may be familiar with. Many of my movies have strong female leads. Brave, self-sufficient girls that don't think twice about fighting for what they believe with all their heart. They'll need a friend or a supporter, but never a savior. Any woman is just as capable of being a hero as any man. These are the words of world-renowned animator and director Hayao Miyazaki. And the majority of his films are led by women. And seriously, if you want to team up with someone to create your own anime,
I don't give a shit.
I got this one to recommend. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
This one's
Miyazaki. Miyazaki is the perfect like. Oh, you want good female leads? How about those beloved, like, creator in the industry? Like, with it, yeah, every movie that Miyazaki makes, with the exception of like 2 or 3, I think, are all female leads for him.
His movies are pretty good.
Yeah, they do involve romance here and there at times, not all of them. But even Howl's Moving Castle, which wasn't his story, he just adapted it to his concepts of war and mysticism and made it colorful and fun. And I was watching it the other day. I was like, this is a really cool film. And
yeah,
it's a great story. It's a really fun story to watch. I don't think it needs all those war elements, but it makes it more exciting. It makes it more colorful to have these bizarre, semi-magical war machines flying through the air with their crazy wings and what have you. That's neat. It's like, what's that thing? Oh, I'm watching an anime. Of course I'm watching an anime. So that's
cool. That's just Miyazaki. In every Miyazaki movie, there's going to be war is bad, nature is good.
Here's the organic magical creature thing.
Yep. And here's the thing. We all love Miyazaki because, yes, we know it's funny. Miyazaki is like one of the few like overtly, I guess you can say, political with the way his like war is bad type thing. But it doesn't
very anti-war.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when you're watching his movies, it doesn't feel like he's beating you over the head with war is bad. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, with the Howl's Moving Castle, it was incorporated fairly well. That you understood what was happening. People, like, you don't see all the bombs dropping. Obviously, there are some scenes of that, but it's like the people are evacuating. They're wondering what's going on. It adds to the tension of a scene, which is otherwise just a girl contemplating, how do I figure out this curse? Where's the demon of the fire to get rid of this thing? And all this other stuff happening. So I would say, yeah, I don't need that element, but it doesn't take away from the story as much as I thought.
Yeah, or like Princess Mononoke, it's very much like nature is good. Like nature is, you know what I mean. Like it's his movies don't, even though they are actively beating you over the head with a message, they don't feel like they're beating you over the head with a message. If that makes sense.
When I hear the sentence "war is bad," I think of Hideo Kojima, which is one of the bad examples of it.
Oh my god.
Oh yes, but here's the thing. Kojima's stuff is usually just so insane. Everyone's just laughing and enjoying the ride.
I would say like Hideo Kojima is like perfectly like the video game version of Miyazaki.
Yes,
they're kind of like the same sense of like insanity.
Yeah, but
except like
you
maybe
can-
Miyazaki is like a bit more professional because like he's older. That's it.
I
yeah,
would,
like
I would go say
Koji, like-
Hideaki and them are two the same.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, Hideaki Anno was a student of Miyazaki, so
Anno is his own breed of insanity, and I love him because he just doesn't care.
in fact, like Miyazaki like called out Anno that like, hey, like why don't you do more of this insane stuff? And like he was like, well, I don't know if I'm cut out for that thing.
I love with 14 when they did a Nier Automata crossover with the game. There's an entire raid series in the game. It's just Nier Automata, which is canon to Nier, by the way. Yes, this insane man. He joked about melting the servers what would happen when you finish the raid. He's just this insane person. I love him.
Hideo Kojima's character naming is so weird. Deep Throat, Solid Snake, Liquid Snake. Like, what is this?
All you got to do is go to the Capcom Mega Man name generator online and just randomly create names for yourself. Then you make the next Metal Gear Solid villains.
Yeah, true.
Burning Eagle. Like, what the fuck is... What's a
You create
The worst part is you
names by
can
using
translate
Mega Man?
that name into another language. You know what I mean? That sounds very weird.
It's too bizarre. It's fun. It's quirky. It's pulpy. It's stupid. It's fine. It's great.
They don't translate those names because like I listened to the Japanese dub and they just like call him Solidu Sneku because of Japanese naming convention.
I know they don't translate them, but they can be translated.
Yeah,
They are
if you
not,
try.
certain
But like the
names,
puns,
they
like
are
you lose the puns.
words. Yeah, I know what.
Anyway, let's go for one last minute.
Email lead, powerful message. Just make it already! So, here we are.
Oh, that was it.
Okay.
Didn't think I'd make a video like this.
All right. Fantastic.
Finish.
All right, great, cool. That wasn't wasn't
I mean,
bad.
not a bad channel, but like yeah, like I think what I would like say as criticism is that I feel like the visuals are kind of like purposely outdated. I don't know. Because like the voice is just sometimes like he has the proper microphone, the other times she doesn't.
I think what happened was she obviously recorded stuff in multiple parts.
Yeah.
There were two recordings. I can detect that much, but like the main recording is bad. Like it sounds like something from the 2010s.
All right, so
Yeah, I think it might just be your mic settings on that one.
here are some stream memes. We're going with some comments from the video. Here's the thing: even if Marie wants a husband and retire, that is okay. Ryza supports Mustang, and that is okay. Those are things these characters wanted, just like the other strong characters strove for the things they wanted. Her comment would only be a true problem, all right, if any of these female characters gave up their own desires in support of a man and or desired to be reliant on a man due to simply being too weak. This is what I was referring to as being one-dimensional. In this case, they're saying take away all those other desires or plots and just focus on the romance. Yeah, that's the same result. There are so many strong female characters and that includes those who choose to be supportive out of their own free will. There's no reason being supportive should be reviled or shamed. Yeah, a secondary character is a supporting character, has a supporting role. And you expect that. That's why we have that category at the Oscars and in other award ceremonies. You understand their role is to be a hindrance or a help to whatever's going on. So it could be in the form of love, it could be in the form of rivalry, it could be an enemy, it could be anything. That's fine. I don't mind that. Oh, look at this. Anime shows strong main character who are female. All right, we've got all kinds. I'm sure you can recognize those. Hollywood characters are strong because they are female. Oh, God. Charlie's Angels on the right, I think. I think that's Ocean's 13. I can't quite tell. Maybe. No, those are X-Men. Are they?
No, that's Ocean's, whatever, the all-female.
Ocean's 8, I think.
Ocean's 8? Okay. Ray, and then, of course, Ghostbusters and Flying magic person.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, Charlie's Angel on the right, yeah. Yep. George Bush when George Herbivore walks in. George Herbivore?
He will eat the bush.
Oh, dear. Har har. Still get a giggle remembering that the same woman voices these characters. Really?
Yeah, Izzy's voice actress is still all over the place in dubbing or acting.
Voice actors are amazing. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. They're just, if they're really good, they can do anything. It's pretty cool.
Well, no, because it's still just funny when, if you only ever heard her voice coming out of Izzy.
Right.
And then you immediately see her saying the same things out of South Park. That's going to be a total whiplash that you were not ready for.
So here is
Izzy just going prodigious, and then immediately smash cut to her going fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's one of those like, okay then.
Here's Mike Testa giving us a wonderful stream meme. Mateus sounds like he is in mascot costume. So here is something fitting. Har har. Muffled noises. Yeah, I know. It sounds like you're behind a big foam padded, I don't know, face mask.
Called Brazil. Yes.
Broken my microphone.
Yeah. Underwater.
He's under the blanket.
Under the blanket. It's cold in here. Yeah, it's freezing. It's winter in Brazil right
No,
now.
I am outside the time and space.
All right. Okay. Well,
Guys, can I make a suggestion? Can we have a special day for watching Critical Drinker videos? They're pretty entertaining and good.
we could have a day dedicated to anything because we've sort of thrown away our Renegade Cut days because no one wants to do them anymore. So
replace it with the Critical Drinker.
We could easily do
Or
that.
how about like we replace it with like the cast, like make a suggestion and like we dedicate it that way. But yeah, let's have some Critical Drinker videos. Those are there are plenty of those.
Yep.
That could work, yeah.
No problem. Alrighty. Well, guys, that was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed going over that. I knew some of the topic. Not a bad channel. Good criticism.
It was such a breath of fresh air to like hear like a sensible person.
I know.
And a woman at that.
A fan of a thing who's like, yeah, what's the big deal? It's just a stuff. Like, what's their problem? What the hell? So.
Anime America is the name of the channel.
Yeah, check it out, guys.
500,000 subs. I never heard of this
I
channel
know.
before.
I just don't get out that much, guys. I don't know.
There's a lot of anime like YouTubers that you just don't hear anything about.
Yeah, that's
really.
Well, anyway, I have to go back to reading some wonderful reviews of you guys who made some game reviews for me. I have to edit them and make sure they're looking good. So thank you so much, guys, for the suggestion. Keep them coming as always. Hopefully we'll be busy tomorrow as well. We've been pretty lax on doing Smudcast because of Easter dinners and family, and I guess we're just transitioning to a new way of life because of COVID finally opening up. Stores just go out more at times. But that might change again in the next coming months because of what's happening in is it Shanghai right now?
I don't care. It doesn't happen. There's no COVID in Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, not happening in your place. Okay. Hopefully.
Yeah, pretty much most of the U.S. here is over and done with, especially now that the CDC is really stupid mask mandate on planes was removed.
Oh, I know. I'm just seeing the lockdowns happening in Singapore, and it's insane. I'm like,
no, it's terrible what's happening over there. It's just,
I don't care. I absolutely don't care.
And here's
Let
the thing:
them die.
The rest of the world can't do the rest of the world can't do anything to like argue against it until we move on past all the COVID stupidity that we've been dealing with.
I must wait for mainstream media to tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I support the current thing.
Beep boop.
A leftist robot.
Hey, those are my pronouns.
A robot or leftist?
9/11.
That's great. Jim, they're dying. Let them die.
Let them die. That was my favorite line from them.
He just hates the Klingons. He doesn't give a shit.
Let them fight.
Out of nowhere, like, cause like I can understand Jim, but like it was pretty much that one Klingon captain that did that to him.
I know. Killed his son. It's like, nope.
He still had that grudge.
Exactly.
But like none of that was displayed in the fourth movie. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I know. It's amazing. Anyway, thanks, guys.